16-year-old debut Jeff. In 1994, a 16-year-old Jeff Hardy made his WWF debut. Short hair, plain tights. The announcers barely said his name. His job? Get squashed by Razor Ramon 1-2-3 Kid, whoever needed a quick win that night. But even then, Jeff was going above and beyond. He launched himself into their offense. He sold like his life depended on it. He didn't look like a star, but he moved like one. And for those paying attention, the Daredevil DNA was already obvious. The Neon Hardys tag era. By 1995, Jeff wasn't just showing up alone anymore. He and Matt started tagging. Still young, still losing, but now with a unique look that made them hard to miss. Neon headbands, homemade gear. They didn't have pyro. They didn't have promo time, but what they did have was energy. Matches were fast, wild, high-flying. They were still putting over bigger teams, but fans started remembering them. This was the prelude to something big, the Hardy Boyz era. And then in '99, it clicked. The Hardy Boyz got their first real push, and a Hall of Fame mentor. Enter Michael Hayes, the rock and roll outlaw of the fabulous Freebirds, now managing these two high-flying punks. The look shifted again. Tight black shirts, baggy black jeans with silver trim, goth vibes, and way more attitude. They weren't just those Daredevil kids anymore. They were now contenders, and they proved it by beating the APA for their first tag team championships. This was the version that started to flirt with tables, ladders, and chairs. That chaotic Hardy Boyz energy was being sharpened into something lethal. They were just one piece away from becoming icons. Team Xtreme era. That piece was Lita. Team Xtreme was born. The entrances, electric. The gear, baggy pants, fishnet sleeves, mesh shirts, dyed hair. The look screamed rebellion. This wasn't just a tag team anymore. This was a movement. And Jeff became the soul of it. Then came the TLC wars. Chairs crashing, tables shattering. Jeff Hardy flying off 20-foot ladders with no hesitation. Multiple tag title reigns. Show-stealing performances. He didn't just wrestle, he genuinely risked his life night after night putting on a show for the fans. Glowing Rave Jeff. By 2002, Jeff was starting to get over with the fans even as a singles wrestler for the first time in his career, so WWE leaned into it. UV reactive body paint, neon dyed hair, custom lighting during his entrance that made him glow under the black light. This glow-in-the-dark style looked like it came from a rave. He held the European Championship, faced Rob Van Dam for the Intercontinental title. He challenged The Undertaker for the Undisputed Championship in a ladder match. And even though he lost, Jeff Hardy put in a performance of a lifetime and gained huge respect from fans and wrestlers around the world, including Big Evil himself. It felt like Jeff Hardy had arrived as a solo star. But behind the scenes, things were unraveling. Missed shows, erratic behavior, failed drug tests. And by April of 2003, he was released from WWE. TNA debut Jeff. When Jeff Hardy showed up in TNA, fans went nuts. New entrance music, more paint, baggy cargos, still reckless, still loved. He came in as a headliner. Feuds with Jeff Jarrett, Raven, Abyss, Monsters ball matches, ladders, tables, chairs. All the chaos, but in a different ring. And that fan connection? Still there. But consistency? Not quite. Still, he stayed a main event name, and fans never stopped cheering. Reborn WWE Jeff. Jeff came back to WWE in 2006. He walked down the ramp and stepped right up to WWE Champion Edge. He was more locked in, more focused. He and Matt captured tag team gold once again. Jeff beat Johnny Nitro for the Intercontinental title. He was climbing the ranks once more. But this time, he stayed. Fans didn't just want Jeff back. They wanted him at the top. And the company finally seemed ready to give him that shot. WWE Champion Jeff Hardy. In 2008, WWE pulled the trigger. At Armageddon, Jeff Hardy beat Edge and Triple H to become WWE Champion. The arena erupted. This wasn't a corporate favorite. This wasn't a safe choice. This was the tattooed, face-painted, risk-taking wildcard the fans chose. A feel-good moment for the ages. Jeff also won the World Heavyweight Championship this same year, beating Edge in a ladder match, but losing it moments after winning when CM Punk cashed in his Money in the Bank briefcase. This started a classic feud with CM Punk that became personal, really personal. Straight edge versus free spirit. Clean living versus risk-taking. It was one of the most real and emotional rivalries of that era. It culminated in a loser leaves WWE steel cage match that Jeff lost. And just like that, he was gone. In 2009, Jeff Hardy left WWE at the height of his popularity. The Antichrist, heel Jeff. When Jeff Hardy came back to TNA in 2010, he initially came back with the bright paint and glow. But at Bound for Glory, everything would change. He won the TNA World title by shockingly aligning with Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff in the Immortal faction. He then stopped wearing the bright paint and neon glow and turned to a darker look. He wore black trench coats, purple button-ups and ties, cold, painted eyes. He introduced a new custom purple world title. He wasn't playing the hero anymore. He called himself the Antichrist of Professional Wrestling. And for the first time in his career, Jeff Hardy turned full heel. He came out to new entrance music with a slow, methodical pace, even smoking cigarettes live on air while walking down the ramp. Fans were stunned. But the real shock came months later. Victory Road 2011. Jeff versus Sting for the world title. Jeff walked out visibly impaired, unfit to wrestle. The match lasted less than 2 minutes. Sting forced the pin. It was the lowest moment of Jeff Hardy's career, and for a while, it looked like that might be the end. Prime TNA Jeff Hardy. In 2012, Jeff Hardy returned, clean, focused, and locked in like never before. The drugs were gone, but the chaos, he just redirected it into the paint. Every week, Jeff came out with a new design. Bright neon, full face patterns. It wasn't just ring gear, it was self-expression. And under all that paint, Jeff was wrestling better than ever. He became the guy in TNA, feuded with Austin Aries, took Bobby Roode to the limit, had wars with Kurt Angle. He won the Bound for Glory series, then the TNA World title. He wasn't spiraling anymore. He was thriving. In an interview with Chris Van Vliet, Jeff called this time some of his best wrestling years of his career. This was Jeff Hardy fully in control of his chaos and turning it into something beautiful. Willow the Wisp. In 2014, after disappearing for some time, the man who returned to TNA wasn't Jeff anymore. He was Willow, draped in a black trench coat, holding a black and white umbrella, shiny silver and black mask, frantic movements, a new accent. He laughed, he whispered, he ranted, and most of the time, no one knew what he was talking about. But that was the point. Willow wasn't just a character. It was Jeff's alter ego, one he'd created back in his backyard wrestling days. And now it was his outlet for something darker. The in-ring style was still Jeff Hardy, risk-taking, chaotic. But the vibe was unhinged. It wasn't about winning titles. It wasn't even about climbing the ladder. It was about channeling the madness. In a match on Impact, Jeff was distracted by an imposter Willow, costing him the match. He confronted the imposter backstage but was attacked by more imposter Willows. Later, Matt Hardy revealed himself to be one of the imposter Willows that attacked Hardy. Jeff then feuded with Matt Hardy, and the storyline culminated in a wild final deletion match, where broken Matt Hardy deleted Jeff Hardy, forcing Jeff to drop the Willow and Hardy names and begin anew. Brother Nero. Jeff embraced the broken universe with Matt Hardy and became Brother Nero. At Bound for Glory 2016, the Hardys defeated Decay to win the TNA World Tag Team Championship. Then, the Hardys issued an open challenge for the tag team title, and on the Total Nonstop Deletion special episode, they retained the titles in a wild tag team apocalypto match where Brother Nero hit Steve with the twist of fate, who then fell into a volcano and was shot up into the sky, landing in the ring and was pinned by Matt to win the match. Yes, that is what really happened. This era wasn't just about wrestling, it was about creating full-blown performance art. But on February 27th, the Hardys announced their departure from TNA, after contract talks broke down between the two parties. And then came the pop heard around the world. WWE Return, WrestleMania 33. The New Day teased a surprise fourth team in the ladder match. And then, loaded hits. The Hardy Boyz come down the ramp. The crowd explodes. It was one of the loudest returns in modern WWE history. And just like that, Jeff Hardy was back. He and Matt won the Raw Tag titles that night. Jeff later added a United States title run and an Intercontinental title run too. The face paint, the dance, the swanton. Classic Jeff Hardy was back. But this was a slower, more broken down Jeff. Years of punishment were catching up. He'd flash brilliance, then get hurt, come back, then run into another setback. The fans never turned. But the spark? It flickered more than it used to. AEW, Jeff Hardy. In 2022, Jeff debuted in AEW, still rocking the paint, still diving off ladders in his mid-40s. The risks and bumps hadn't stopped. He reunited with Matt, had wild brawls with the Young Bucks, the Butcher and Blade. And once again, the crowd loved it. But behind the paint and pyro, Jeff was battling the same demons that had haunted him in the past. Another DUI, another suspension, another fight to stay in the ring. In June 2024, Jeff's contract with AEW expired, but he wasn't done with wrestling yet. TNA Return. Another company, another comeback. Jeff returned to TNA in 2024 at against all odds to save his brother Matt from a beatdown by the system. The painted look makes a comeback and is more creative than ever. New, unique designs unlike any other he's worn throughout his career. At Bound for Glory, the Hardys defeated the System and ABC in a three-way Full Metal Mayhem match to win the TNA World Tag Team Championship once again. While still contracted to TNA, the Hardy Boyz made a return appearance to WWE at NXT Roadblock, where the Hardy Boyz successfully defended the TNA World Tag Team Championship. Today, Jeff's still chasing that final chapter, still chasing that moment that ties it all together. But no matter how it ends, Jeff Hardy's legacy is already unforgettable. Subscribe and like the video for more legendary careers explained. Thanks for watching.